Time for another board game review. This time we have the game Battlecruisers. This was sent to me by Tasty Minstrel Games, and it is designed by Philip Duberry. You are the commander of a battlecruiser deep in space, locked in a deadly contest with the enemy over a crucial objective. Your decisions in the next few moments will decide your fate. So let me show you kind of how to play. So it plays 3 to 5 players. Each player has a mat. This kind of shows you where your discards and your recovery zone and in-play areas are. And then depending on how many players you have, each player gets 6 to 8 cards, and they all have the same cards. So for the basic set, they recommend Shields, Reckless Pilot, Captain, Laser Cannon, Special Ops, and Escape Pod. All 3 players in this example have the same cards in their hand. There are over 40 different cards in the game, and in the instruction manual, they actually give you scenarios where they recommend different combinations of cards. So you can do it completely randomly, or you can go by, you can do Clash of Captains or Scorched Space. There are different options available to you, which I think is cool. Once everyone has their identical hands, each player randomly puts 1 card face down in the discard pile and 1 card face up in their recovery zone. Now, obviously, in regular play, you wouldn't have them all lined up like this. I'm just showing you a visual here. Having some cards randomly face down in the discard pile and face up makes it so you can kind of have a better chance of predicting what your opponents are going to do. Because in this game, if you play the same card as an opponent, you are both punished. So gameplay is pretty simple. Each player picks 1 card from their hand, places it face down, then simultaneously reveal what you played. Now the number on each card tells you the order that the cards are going to be played in. So we look at number 11. Aha! Player 1 and player 3 both play the same card, so unfortunately they can't do their main effect, they have to do their clash effect. In this case it says discard this card or any card from your hand, so both players are punished. Then this card is number 13, so that goes next. Captain, since they didn't clash, they gain 3 victory points. If you discard a card, it goes in your discard pile, and you can look in your discard pile if you want. After you've resolved all the cards, you check to see if anyone is in red alert. If you ever have only 1 card in your hand and or recovery zone, you get into red alert mode, because if you run out of cards, you're dead. You're out of the game. If no one's in red alert or no one's eliminated, then everyone picks up the card from their recovery zone and puts it in their hand. And the card that you just played goes into your recovery zone. And that's the game. As you can see, there are interesting effects on the cards. Escape Pod basically says if you have no cards in your hand, return up to 3 cards of your choice from your discard pile to your hand. That kind of helps you survive. Shields, you ignore opponent's main effects this round and next round. Laser Cannons basically are an attack item. They make each opponent discards 1 card. So there are lots of ways to make your opponents discard cards, for you to recover your cards, or get victory points. So if you get 15 victory points, or if the other players are eliminated, you are the winner. So basically it boils down to this kind of strategic mind game where you're going, oh, I want to play this card, but I think my opponent's going to play this card, so maybe I should play a different card, because if we both play the same card, we'll both be screwed. There are a lot of different cards and sets, and they all do all sorts of things, and they complement each other really well. Like, they can kind of do little combos and stuff, or different strategies. It is also extremely short, so because it's so easy to run out of cards or get points, so it's meant to be played in very short bursts, so you can play several games in a row. The gameplay is also incredibly fast, because all you're doing is putting down a card. Put down a card, reveal them, resolve the effects, shift the cards, pick up a card, alright, next round. And that's it. It's simultaneous, quick play. With that said, the game goes by so quick that I almost don't get that invested in it. It kind of reminds me of a game called Citadels that I really like, where in that, the cards resolve low to high, and certain cards can affect other cards. It reminds me of that, but Citadels is longer and has a little more meat to it, I think. But with Citadels, while I put a lot into the strategy, Battlecruisers, because it's so short and you have so few cards in your hand, oftentimes you're just like, well, I gotta play this card because I have to survive. Again, it's a quick game, so that's not like a glaring issue, but I guess it feels a little less strategic because it's so short that you kind of sometimes have to do very specific cards in order to even stay in the game. It's also part of the Eminent domain universe, which I like Eminent domain a lot, but the sort of theme feels very tacked on. It doesn't feel like Eminent domain at all. I mean, I guess they're both in space, but that's kind of the only similarity. The game is fun, though. It is satisfying pulling off combos in certain sets, because like I said, the cards really work well together. It feels like a micro game that wants to be a meatier game. And I think maybe if you had maybe more cards and more victory points to get, it might feel, I don't know, something about the length. But you know what? Not every game needs to be super long. So it's a pretty solid little micro game. You get to sit down, get to pew 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 each other with little card weapons and blow each other up and feel satisfied and say haha to your friends when they clash with each other. It's a fun little filler game. So overall, it's pretty all right.